At my graduation, my sister was given a $25,000 diamond necklace. I got a $20 gift card. The crowd cheered for her until the principal read my name and everything changed. I'm Emily, and what happened next at my graduation shattered my family's carefully polished image. Have you ever felt the sting of being treated like the lesser child, no matter how hard you tried? Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were in my place? I walked off the stage with a smile that felt glued on. My sister's diamond necklace sparked louder than my name. Applause thinned into chair scrapes. The gym smelled like floor polish. I kept my cap straight and my voice steady because crying would only give them a better story to tell on the ride home. Mom reached me first and brushed at my gown like dust could ruin our image. "Don't make a scene, sweetheart," she whispered, the sentence she's issued at every family event since I could stand still for pictures. Dad hovered a step back, smiling for whoever might be watching. Rachel slid into place with the necklace throwing sparks. She tipped her chin. Two moms gasped. I could almost hear the word carrots. "Let your sister stand in the middle," Dad said, arranging us the way he arranges lawn chairs every 4th of July. I moved to the edge. Camera phones rose like a small forest. A boy from chemistry shouted congrats. Someone stepped on my heel. I told myself it didn't matter. The flash popped and flattened everything. After photos, we drifted to the folding tables where brownies sagged on paper plates. Mom pulled out 2 gifts. Rachel's was a velvet box. Mine was a crisp envelope. I slid out a $20 gift card for a chain store that sells socks and candles. I smiled like the girl on the card. Rachel opened her box and the diamond answered for the room, a bright, cold sound that found my face. Aunt Carol clapped. Dad cleared his throat, practical and proud. Useful things are the best gifts, they last. My gift would last until tax and a tip. I said thank you and tried to mean it. I tried not to notice Mom kissing Rachel's temple and whispering, "You deserve it, honey." I tucked the card into its sleeve. Careful because careful daughters don't cut themselves on cheap paper. A neighbor asked for a picture with Rachel. I slipped to the hallway where my reflection floated over plaques in the trophy case. The glass made me look both there and not there. Footsteps. Mr. Bennett, the principal, appeared with a clipboard. "Emily," he said, "could you stay a minute before you head out?" My spine went straight. He smiled, small and honest. "Nothing to worry about." He tapped the board. "There's one more thing." I followed him toward the stage. Behind us, chairs scraped and families negotiated dinner and parking. Mom called, "We can talk at home." Dad lifted a hand, a careful wave for the neighbors. Rachel adjusted the pendant so it faced the room like a headline. The mic on the podium squealed, a pinched balloon. Mr. Bennett waited out the chatter. Before everyone leaves, he said, "There's one more recognition." My name settled in my chest like a stone, heavy but steady. He looked at me and then at the room. "This won't take long." I stood just off the stage and watched phones tilt like sunflowers. I pressed the gift card until the corners bit back. Paper and ink, but it held the weight of a habit. Who stands in the middle? Who gets the good china? Who gets told not to make a scene? The gym fans pushed warm air over us. A banner rippled near the exit. My breath clicked like a metronome. Mr. Bennett cleared his throat. Somewhere a kid laughed, then hushed. I felt the night tip a fraction, like a picture frame finally straightened. I didn't know what he would say, only that it would be said into a microphone. And microphones have long memories in small suburbs. I lifted my chin, not to catch the light, but to meet it. "Emily," Mr. Bennett said, "before everyone leaves, there's something we should read out loud." The mic squealed again, the room quieted, even the diamond seemed to stop blinking. The mic steadied and so did my heartbeat. Mr. Bennett held the page like it mattered and read my name. Then came what no one expected, a merit scholarship for academics and an award for community service. The gym didn't roar, but the claps were real. My shoulders dropped like a shelf finally fixed. Mom's hand gripped my elbow. "Honey, we can talk at home," she murmured. Translation, "Don't embarrass us." Dad wore his broadcast smile. Rachel adjusted her necklace as if applause could be redirected. I took the certificate and thanked Mr. Bennett. He leaned in. "You earned this." We moved with the crowd to the parking lot. Families posed by trunks. Mr. Bennett shook Dad's hand. Rachel wanted one more banner photo. A neighbor mom said her daughter had seen me tutor. You deserve every bit, she said. I slid the gift card beside the certificate and felt how thin one was next to the other. At home, the backyard was already working. Paper plates, lemonade, chips, a folding table bowing in the middle. Neighbors drifted in with the usual lines. Mom floated like a hostess. Dad patrolled the grill. Rachel stood under the lights. The pendant caught every bulb. Aunt Carol arrived late, breathy and apologetic. She kissed me, then hugged Rachel longer. Look at you, she said. That necklace is a star. She turned to Dad. Robert, you sent that big wire to Rachel already? The yard didn't go silent, it shifted. The grill hissed. Dad's smile hardened. Carol, he said like her name was a door. Rachel smirked. Mom's eyebrows warned the patio. I reached for chips I didn't want. Carol retreated to small talk. Neighbors resumed their rhythm, but their ears stayed open. My phone buzzed. Mr. Bennett's letter, simple, specific, already in my inbox. I showed it to Dad. He skimmed without seeing. Proud of you, he said. Mom offered lemonade. She was staging the night so no one would remember the word wire. By the side gate, a cousin asked how many hours I'd logged. I told him. That's a lot. Put it in your statement, he said. The lights felt less like spotlights and more like lamps I could finally stand under. Dad called for a toast. He thanked everyone and said he couldn't be prouder of both his girls. The word both hung like a decoration. Rachel's smirk returned. Carol stood by the cooler. When conversations loosened, Carol came to me. Call me later, she mouthed. She slipped a folded sticky note into my palm as she hugged me. Across the yard, Dad corrected a neighbor about cleaning a grill. Mom refilled bowls. Rachel laughed on cue. The party repeated itself until the light thinned. I tucked the note with the gift card and the certificate, one bright, one thin, one quiet. After the neighbors left, Dad stacked chairs. Mom collected cups. We can talk about plans, she said. Stay in your lane. Rachel asked to borrow the good cooler. Dad said yes. In the kitchen, I rinsed glasses and reread Mr. Bennett's email. You earned this. It anchored me. On the counter lay a receipt with a pen line through the total. I thought about money moving from one account to another, about the word wire. In my room, I unfolded the note. A single line, mortgage, not tuition. Under it, a date, then a bank name. I sat on the bed and let the words assemble into a sentence I didn't want but couldn't ignore. My phone buzzed. A neighbor posted a photo, Rachel and me side by side. The pendant bright, my certificate a stiff rectangle. The comments said congratulations. One reads, so proud of you, Emily. I typed thank you and left it there. Applause for me had been smaller than the diamond glare, but it did something the diamond couldn't. It planted doubt where certainty used to sit. I wasn't the lesser one by default, not in the gym, not in the yard, not in the script I'd been handed. My phone buzzed again. A text from Carol, call me later. I slid the sticky note into my wallet next to the gift card. I could pretend I hadn't heard. I could pretend the note meant nothing. I could also call. The mic had steadied, so had my heartbeat. Fireworks are loud, secrets are louder. By dusk, the cul-de-sac smelled like charcoal. Kids drew shaky stars with sparklers that vanished mid-wow. I tucked Aunt Carol's note deeper, mortgage, not tuition, and told myself I was here to eat a burger and keep my eyes open. Flags flapped from mailboxes. Lawn chairs made semicircles. Dad manned the grill like a general. Mom floated between coolers with her holiday smile. Rachel arrived late, nails red as her cup. Jake came in a ball cap, tossing soft jokes. Carol slid beside me with a paper plate. You look great, Em, still at the center. She kept her eyes on the grill. I said yes. Just ketchup, she added, and maybe less guilt, half laughing. Rachel gathered a small crowd near the folding table. No ring, just talk. We're looking closer to downtown, she said. The market is insane, but timing is everything. Someone asked about rates. She glanced at Dad. Ours is fine. It helped, good advice. I hovered by the cooler while Dad pulled his phone and checked totals with the quick swipe of a man who tracks figures like steps. For breath, I saw a bank logo, a green arrow, a date that matched Carol's note. He caught me looking, locked the screen, and offered ice. Jake dropped into the chair next to me and raised his plate. To Mom's golden spreadsheet, he said. She color codes who needs what and when. He speared a pickle. Don't quote me. Golden spreadsheet? I asked. He shrugged. Budgets, gifts, loans, mom loves a plan. He tipped his head toward Rachel. Some people fit the plan better. A firework cracked. We looked up. Carol returned with napkins and a whisper. Your dad's been on that app all week, rates accounts. I shouldn't have said why you're so loud, but there was one. She traced a small square in the air. Notes exist, emails do. Mom called for spots for the big show. Streetlights clicked on. We settled into the semicircle. Dad passed tiny flags. Rachel twirled hers. The HOA here is a lot, she said. HOA protects value, Dad answered. Between bursts, Jake kept joking. Remember when Mom spreadsheeted Halloween candy, almonds for grades, gummies for chores? Rachel smiled. I listened to the gaps between booms. Carol leaned close. Down payment, she said like a password. Co-signing. The word snagged. How sure? I asked. Sure enough, there's a draft to the family lawyer that mentions ratios, she said. Not out here. A low bloom fizzled. Rachel clapped once for herself and then for the sky. She lifted her voice. My interest rate would have been worse without Dad co-signing. It landed like a dropped dish. Lawn chairs creaked. Mom coughed. Rachel, Dad said, warning. No one spoke. Jake studied the grill. Dad folded his arms like a gate. Rachel crunched a chip. What, it's family, she tried. Mom laughed thinly. Sweetheart, keep details light, she told Rachel. Then shot me a look. Keep your face neutral. The next volley hammered the sky. I checked the date on my phone against the one in my wallet. Wire month, app month, a trail you could follow without leaving the curb. Golden spreadsheet, I said under my breath. Jake raised a sparkler and drew a frantic circle. To budgets, he said, and to Dad's tongs. Dad stared ahead. Carol's hand found my sleeve. There's more in the will, she breathed. Draft lines, percent signs, names where you'd expect nouns. The finale made silence easy. Faces flickered. Smoke slid down the street. I thought about green arrows, signatures that tilt futures, sparks you only see after dark. When the last bloom fell, everyone clapped. Chairs scraped. Coolers shut. Rachel pitched a beach day. Mom gathered cups. I walked past Dad's chair. His phone lay face down, the bank logo glowing. The green arrow waited like a tiny road sign. I didn't touch it. Mortgage, not tuition. Co-signing. Wire, golden spreadsheet. Paper, people, math. Carol squeezed my hand. Call me tomorrow, she said, quieter than a promise. I nodded. Secrets were louder than fireworks. Tonight they left smoke I could follow. Turkey carves cleaner than family lines. The knife slid through the breast like it had a map, and still each slice felt political. Dad said, keeping up appearances, while he lined the good china, measuring gaps with his thumb. In the living room, football glowed on mute. The leather couch flashed back the overhead lights. I kept moving. Busy hands, open eyes, rolls in the oven, sweet potatoes under marshmallow. Mom's hostess voice carried coats here, drinks there. Rachel swanned in, scarf perfect. Dad kissed her temple. He checked the table. He checked the hallway to his study. A sheet lived near the pantry, half tucked beneath a grocery list. Printer white, notepad thin. I palmed it like a card. Subject, trust distribution draft. My heart did the small drum it does when an elevator pauses. I slid the paper beneath a folded towel and set out salad like nothing happened. Cousin Ethan, first-year law, arrived with a pie and doctrine. By the fridge he whispered, probate is public. A living trust keeps assets out of court. Red idle now, not later. Distribution, I asked. Depends on the terms. Revocable can change while they are alive. After death it's locked. Trustees owe duties, paper trails, email trails. He lifted the pie server like a gavel. Don't quote me at dinner. In the pantry's shadow I slid the sheet out an inch. Lines marched calmly. Words like allocation, beneficiary class, discretionary need. Lower, another thread, CC McCreary and Holt Family Council. The date matched wire month. An attachment icon winked. Towel down, breathe, Mom swept in. Sweetheart cranberry. I nodded. She scanned the kitchen like sonar and then the study door like memory. Dad had set a coaster on the knob, an old habit with a new message, don't. Ethan passed with green beans. Trusts avoid probate, not drama. He said, co-signing isn't ownership, it's exposure. Separate issue, same Thanksgiving. He vanished. People formed along the table. Football flickered on leather. Dad gave thanks for family, health, opportunity. Mom squeezed my hand on opportunity. Rachel sat in the middle. Cameras rose, plates moved. I returned the turkey platter and slipped into the pantry. The thread tied familiar names to the firm. Phrases jumped: down payment accommodation, equitable intent, allocation to Rachel and future issue, document loan vs. gift, then, per Robert's request, distribution to Emily deferred pending further discussion. Metal on the tongue. Footsteps, Dad. He leaned on the doorframe with the smile he uses for neighbors. Everything all right? Soft, eyes sweep. Need help with the gravy? I'm good, I said. The spoon clicked the pot. The study's a mess, he added. Holiday mail everywhere, I should lock it. He didn't. His thumb tapped the frame. Mom called for a toast. Dad held my gaze a beat, then peeled away. Air restarted, towel up, phone out, angle low, tap. Subject dates CC. Tap again, distribution in bold. Sheet back, cotton smoothed flat. At the table, Ethan raised cider. To clarity, he tried. To upgrades, Rachel said. Dad clinked hard. Mom dabbed a spotless spot. I sent the photos to the cloud. The progress bar moved at the speed of courage. On TV, a receiver caught a pass in slow motion. Talk slid to flights and Black Friday. Ethan leaned in. Trustees must keep beneficiaries informed, he said. If you're a beneficiary, and CCing counsel isn't magic, just a witness. Who decides beneficiary? I asked. The document, he said. And who authored it? Words matter, dates matter, attachments matter more. Dad poured coffee like a contract, one ear on everyone, both eyes on me when he wasn't looking. Mom lifted pies from boxes and called them homemade. Rachel refreshed her phone. I excused myself to grab napkins and ducked back. The email lay where I'd left it, a white flag pretending not to be a map. I checked my phone. Upload complete. The first proof now lived somewhere the house couldn't reach. Sweetheart, Mom called from the archway in her warm company tone. We're taking a family photo. She eyed the centerpiece, leaving a Rachel-sized space, with Rachel in the middle. The necklace sparkled under the tree lights like a dare. It caught each blink and threw it back louder than the carols. Cocoa and pine filled the house. Ethan texted, careful, if there's a trust, changes are trackable. Rachel shook a present, guessed the brand. Jake laughed too hard. Mom centered Rachel's stocking. Dad tended the fire, then glanced toward his study like a goalie at a net. I rehearsed calm, same breath, same face. Neighbors rotated in Cocoa compliments. Repeat, they admired the tree, the garland, the framed 5K photo. Mom floated with a tray and the narrative. It's so special having both girls home, she told Mrs. Leary. Different paths, each shining. The way was lit in one direction. After silent night, gifts, Rachel first because she goes first. She opened a luxury handbag. She'd only been window shopping. Dad said she works hard, like the bag was a paycheck. My box was taped plain, a kitchen set, mixing bowls, spatula, meat thermometer. To get you set up, Mom said, the handbag paired with the necklace, sparkle on sparkle. Someone murmured, wow. My set gleamed politely. Dad, I said lightly, do you still have records from the old college funds? I'm organizing paperwork and want contributions by year. The room edged quieter. Dad adjusted a log. We've handled all that, you're fine. He didn't look at me. Receipts roll up, I said. Taxes if I refinance. I smiled at a neighbor as if we shared a joke. Mom set down the tray. Sweetheart, tonight is about family, not accounting, she said for the room. Let's not invite the IRS to Christmas. It's just records, I said. Every family keeps them. Jake coughed. Rachel fussed with the bag. I'm sure they've got it, she said. Besides, interest rates, blah blah, she waved it away. Necklace threw little constellations on her collarbone. Aunt Carol slipped in, cheeks red from cold. She hugged me and whispered, wait till the reunion. I nodded. Mom lifted her mug. Gratitudes, she announced. People thanked health, community, this street. Dad thanked our blessings and the wisdom to invest them well. His eyes didn't move to me. Rachel said, I'm grateful for timing and for parents who believe in potential. She aimed it like a spotlight. I'd still like to see the college fund records, I said. And Dad, who's trustee on the family trust? Like reading a label, Dad blinked. Not a question for Christmas Eve. It's a question with an answer, I said. Neighbors studied the tree. Ethan's text hovered. Changes are trackable. I pictured dates, attachments, the CC line from Thanksgiving. My heartbeat counted. Mom leaned on words. We invest where it returns, she said, soft cutting. The line slid through the room like wire. Rachel held still like a portrait. I stood inside the hit. Return isn't always cash, I said. Sometimes it's character or service or fairness. Don't make this a thing, Dad said, eyes on the fire. It's already a thing, Carol murmured, straightening a bow. I looked at the tree, the necklace throwing confetti light, and at the kitchen set shining dutifully. I clicked the thermometer on, it beeped. Records help everyone, I said, softer. They erase confusion later. No one picked it up. Carol started a carol. We sang about peace and made none. Neighbors put on coats, complimented the tree, told Rachel she glowed. The bag and necklace doubled the wattage. Mom hugged guests, Dad stacked wrapping paper. Jake carried plates. In the kitchen, Carol rinsed mugs. If there's a binder, she said, it's in the study. Lower cabinet, right side, blue spine, don't get caught. Changes are trackable, I said. Exactly, she said, so make them count. The TV rolled a fireplace loop. I opened a message to Ethan and typed, how do I copy a will without tipping anyone? I didn't send it. The necklace flashed under the tree, a lighthouse for a ship I wasn't on. Mom hummed a carol. Dad shut the study door without a sound. Rachel stroked the bag. I saved the draft. The question sat on my screen, small and bright as a votive, lighting the next step whether anyone approved or not. Easter eggs are easy to find, signatures aren't. Aunt Carol's dining room smelled like ham and lemon polish. Place cards with tiny rabbits pretended not to be a seating chart. I checked my phone. Principal Bennett had replied, happy to write anything you need, your record speaks. I set the screen face down like a secret. Brunch ran on politeness with sharp edges. Quiche, asparagus, strawberries glossed to shine. Mom praised the glaze. Dad praised punctuality. Rachel praised herself. Jake praised the weather. I poured coffee and kept my questions folded. Ethan slid into the chair beside me with a law student whisper. You asked, he said. Filed wills are public at the county clerk. While they are alive, a trust is private unless someone shares. You can request copies from the family lawyer as a beneficiary or potential one. Formal, dated, email plus paper. What if I'm deferred pending further discussion? You still ask. He said, don't accuse, request clarity, accounting, executed pages, schedule of assets, loop counsel so it can't vanish. He speared asparagus. Also, letters like the principal's help, judges like context. Bennett sent it, I said. Good, not money, but wait. Aunt Carol hovered with rolls, her smile wobbled. I can't keep swallowing this, she said. I saw a draft. Mom laughed for the neighbors. Carol stared at the rabbits. Percentages, she said. Rachel higher, Jake close, you future consideration. Drafts change, Dad said mildly from the head of the table. And brunch is not discovery. His fork kept time. Discovery is a process, Ethan murmured, then louder, this quiche is excellent. Rachel adjusted the necklace to catch the window. We're all adults, she said, let's not turn Easter into a courtroom. I'm not asking for a verdict, I said, just copies. Mom's smile cut. Sweetheart, eat before the ham dries. I lined up my pieces for Carol. Bennett's letter, scholarship, pantry email, wire, co-signing, deferred, I want lawful clarity, not a scene. Carol touched a napkin like a vow. Then you'll need access, she said. The lawyer's assistant, Tina. I bring cookies. She likes me. I can introduce you as family. How? Coffee near the courthouse, Carol said. Ask about process. If she offers public steps, take notes. If not, write the letter anyway. Dad buttered a roll. I'm not embarrassed, he said. I'm disappointed this is how Easter sounds. It sounds like adults, Carol said gently. Adults who love each other enough to be clear. Jake cleared his throat. For what it's worth, Mom has a spreadsheet, he muttered. Rachel nudged his chair. I slid Bennett's email to Carol. She nodded. Print that, she said. People hear different words on letterhead. Ethan flipped a place card and penciled steps. Draft letter, request executed trust pages and amendments, ask for schedule of assets, confirm beneficiary status, note amicable intent, copy counsel. No threats, he said, just record keeping. Mom announced an egg hunt. We moved to the yard. Plastic eggs glittered in the grass. Children sprinted after candy with no politics. I stood by the hydrangeas while Bennett's line glowed in my head. Your record speaks. Carol returned with her phone. Tina says coffee is fine, she whispered. Tomorrow 10 across from the courthouse bakery. I'll walk you in. Thank you, I said. Inside, Ethan said, bring ID, the scholarship letter, a date list. Bring Carol if you can. If they refuse, the letter still goes. Clock starts. At the door, Carol pressed a church bulletin into my hand and wrote Tina's name and the address. Do not take photos in the office, she said. Phones make people lie. I tucked the bulletin beside Bennett's email, 2 papers heavier together. Tomorrow, I said, ally confirmed. On the porch, my phone vibrated. A new voice message from Mom, time-stamped last week. I pressed play. Her voice came careful and clean. Don't tell Emily about the trust. Reunions are for hugs or verdicts. The pavilion at the park felt like a borrowed courtroom. Grill smoke under a tin roof, name tags, a photo board clipped with clothespins. Kids swarmed coolers. A cousin tested the mic. Don't make a scene echoed like a dare, so I chose a scene built on evidence, not volume. Aunt Carol set potato salad like she was hiding dynamite. Ethan stacked plates, eyes down. Mom worked the crowd. Dad shook hands like firm agreements. Rachel angled the diamond. Jake ran cornhole brackets. The poster by the tables read family values. A marker was taped to the corner. Dad tapped a spoon to the mic. Thanks for being here, he said. Family is our first and best investment. Applause, cameras, burgers, shouting from Uncle Marty. I'd like a minute, I said, heads turned. Mom shot me the later look. I faced the photo board, then the mic. I want to thank Mr. Bennett for his letter about my record. I held up the school letterhead. He writes, happy to write anything you need, your record speaks. I set it beside the condiments. I'd like my record on this board too. I laid down the second sheet, the Thanksgiving email, subject, date, CC to the family firm. This matches a wire last May, I said, naming the day. It coincides with a mortgage application in Rachel's name. Rachel's smile thinned. Jake searched for a joke. Dad, I said into the mic, steady on record, did you co-sign Rachel's mortgage and fund her account last May? Mom moved with her company voice. Sweetheart, this is not. It is, I said. Our story gets told in public, holidays, toasts. I'm adding facts. Dad took the mic. We help our children, he said. We guide resources where they are needed. Needed as defined by what? I asked. Return. He inhaled. It's our right to reward the children who, he stopped. Gasps rippled. Rachel blinked. Jake shifted. Grandma leaned in. I set down Ethan's typed steps, request executed trust pages and amendments, schedule of assets, confirm beneficiaries, amicable intent. I'm sending this to council today, I said. I uncapped the marker and wrote transparency in the margin of family values. Mom reached for the mic. Emily, there are channels. We don't air drafts and guesses at a picnic. Drafts and guesses? Carol said just loud enough. I saw numbers. Uncle Marty tried to save. Two, being there for each other. The claps died on contact. Ethan stepped closer. Standard disclosures protect everyone, he said. If there's a trust, clarity is a duty. I set down my scholarship certificate, dates, hours, a life not measured in necklaces. This isn't a grievance exhibit, I said. It's notice I exist in the math. Rachel lifted her chin. We're adults. If Dad co-signed, it's because we can carry a mortgage. That's prudence. Prudence requires disclosure, Ethan said. I put my phone on the table, hit speaker. Let the pavilion hear what I heard yesterday. Mom's voice filled the roof. Don't tell Emily about the trust. The words rode the grill's smoke. Everything paused. A toddler asked what trust means. The rental truck hummed in the far lot. Mom polished her face. Context, she said. You're missing context. Then provide it, I said. Here now on record. Dad stared at the mic. Rachel forced a smile. Jake studied the cornhole board. Grandma spoke from her. Soft but official. We can listen, she said. We came to eat and to listen. A breeze lifted family value. Someone pinned it with ketchup. My hand stopped shaking. Carol tucked hers under a napkin. Ethan kept his camera down. I'll begin with dates, I said. May wire, June mortgage, November email, December line about return, Easter line about adults, today's recording. I didn't raise my voice. The pavilion did it for me. Dad adjusted his belt. We will answer through council, he said. That's where this belongs. He set the mic down. It rolled and stopped like it was choosing sides. Then consider this my formal request, I said, sliding duplicates of the steps into a folder labeled Family Transparency. Dad didn't take it. Carol did. Aunt Linda whispered on record like a new spice. Toddlers resumed their ring around the cooler. Burgers smoked. Normal noise crept back, shy and stubborn. I watched the space between Mom and the mic become its own proof. I reached to stop the audio, then left it running. The last second looped in the phone's preview. Don't tell Emily about the trust. The pavilion fell quiet again, deeper than the first, like the hush after fireworks when smoke hangs and no one knows where to clap. Silence is loud right before it breaks. The pavilion held its breath, paper plate still, smoke stalled, then the whispers started. Ethan's line looped, changes are trackable. I kept my palms flat on the table. Aunt Carol moved first. I invited someone, she said. If we're doing clarity, let's do it right. A man in a summer suit stepped from the shade, tie loosened. Lawson, he said, family council. I was nearby. He scanned the papers, then looked at my parents. I'll keep this civil and short. Dad held a folding chair. Rachel folded her arms. Jake shifted. Ethan cleared his throat. Mechanics first, he said. A revocable trust is adjustable while grantors are alive. Amendments have dates. Distributions can be loans or gifts. Either way, records exist. If there's co-signing on a mortgage, that's separate but relevant to equity. Lawson nodded. Correct. He tapped my printed email. This thread references draft allocations and a CC to our firm. This copy is not executed, but it traces the outline. Draft or not, it shows intent at a moment in time. Can you confirm the outline? I asked. Without waiving privacy, Lawson said, the last draft I saw allocated a higher percentage to Rachel, a portion to Jake, and deferred language regarding you. Deferral can mean delay, not denial, but it is less certainty. The whispers swelled. Mom said context. Dad said nothing. I slid a redacted bank printout. Wire posted on the 12th, I said. A week later, the mortgage cosign appears on county records. I don't need balances, I need acknowledgement. Rachel laughed once. Everyone helps their kids. Everyone discloses to their kids, Ethan said. I took out a page I typed last night. I'm not asking for favors, just fairness, I read. I request copies of executed trust pages, amendments, and the current schedule of assets. I request confirmation of beneficiary status. Any down payment accommodations should be documented as loans with terms or as gifts recorded for tax. Distributions should be recalibrated to reflect transparency and equal dignity. Lawson folded his arms. That is a reasonable written request, he said. Grantors aren't obliged to treat adult children identically, but concealment creates foreseeable harm. Adjustments can be made, equity can be restored. The sentence landed like a gavel. Rachel's mouth parted. Jake looked at Dad, then at Mom. Aunt Linda whispered, equity. Carol exhaled. Mom's smile tried to reassemble. We would prefer to handle this privately, she said. Home is where you said don't tell Emily about the trust, I said. This is where the pattern is corrected. Lawson set his briefcase on the bench. Process, he said. 1. Emily submits her request in writing today. 2. The grantors respond within 30 days. 3. If there are loans, paper them. 4. If there are gifts, file appropriately. 5. If allocations no longer reflect intent, amend the trust and initial each page. Grandma lifted a hand. Lawson paused. Sir, she said, can the pie be cut while you're listing? Laughter cracked the tension. Please, Lawson said. Pie improves compliance. Carol served slices and set mine at my elbow. Ethan leaned in. You have standing now, he whispered. Public facts in a reasonable tone. Lawson looked at Dad. Do you contest the cosign, the wire? Dad's jaw worked. We help where help returns, he said. Then help the record, I said. Acknowledge the dates. He gripped the chair. Yes, he said finally. I co-signed. Yes, there was a wire. Phones tilted. Lawson nodded. Step 1 is truth. He turned to Mom. Do you acknowledge the recording? She lifted her chin. I acknowledge it exists, she said. I do not concede it reflects our hearts. Hearts are not the archive, Lawson said. Documents are. Then we start with documents, I said. Today. I signed the bottom of my request and slid it toward Lawson. He stamped the corner received. Rachel's voice thinned. So what, we split everything 3 ways, that's childish. Not childish, Ethan said. Calculable. Lawson capped his pen. No one is dictating terms from a picnic table, he said. But inequity recognized and recorded tends to resolve. Families who fix errors don't collapse. Families who hide them. I'll expect a response within 30 days, I said. If I don't receive one, my next letter goes to the court, not the grill. Mom's smile flickered. Dad's voice came hoarse. We'll discuss this privately, he said. I met his eyes. We just did. News travels faster than apologies. In the grocery aisles, people didn't just nod, they paused. Mrs. Leary stopped by produce. We're proud of you, she said, low but clear. Took guts. I thanked her and bagged apple. My hands shook less than yesterday. At church, the lot buzzed. I saw your dad's face when you said on record, a choir mom told me, Lord, I wish I'd had that spine at your age. I smiled and mentioned weather. Aunt Carol hugged me by the doors. She sounded relieved. You sounded like a lawyer without the tuition bill, she said. Tina texted, she'll make sure Lawson moves. Inside, we stood for prayer. I didn't close my eyes. I kept them on the exit sign and on the watchful people around us. When the amen rolled out, a neighbor squeezed my shoulder like someone died, something new had been born. HOA met Monday with stale cookies. The whispers weren't whispers, they were field reports. Emily stood up for herself, someone said near the water cooler. Good for her, someone else said, and no one shushed it. Rachel and Jake arrived late. Rachel wore sunglasses, then took them off because the room isn't Instagram. We ran through speed bumps, pool hours, lawn heights. Under new business, Mr. Dolan cleared his throat. Household communication, he said, a topic he invented. Transparency is good for communities. He looked at me, then at my parents. People nodded. No one mentioned trusts. The message landed. That night, Rachel posted about betrayal. She didn't use names. She used the word family 7 times. Her friends typed hearts and you deserve better. A neighbor commented, transparency helps everyone thrive. Hearts slowed. The tone shifted from sympathy to questions. An aunt replied, proud of Emily. The thread cooled. Dad texted Tuesday, sit down, 7 p.m. at the house. Just us, I could hear the table in that sentence. I replied, I'll come, bring Lawson's draft in the spreadsheet. At the house, the porch light glowed before sunset. Mom opened the door and air kissed my cheek. Sweetheart, she said, voice steady. We sat in the dining room, Thanksgiving without food. The chairs didn't creak. Dad folded his hands. We don't want this to become a spectacle, he started. It already did, I said, because secrecy was the spectacle. Lawson's folder sat in the center like a referee. Mom slid a printout toward me, the golden spreadsheet. Tamed by headers, support date, amount, purpose, terms. Lines in Rachel's column read down payment, emergency fund, bridge loan. Jake's column had smaller numbers but numbers. My column had college books and car tires. Columns don't lie, they whisper until someone turns up the mic. Dad said we will make adjustments. He said it slowly. But you can't dictate percentages from a picnic table. I breathed. Then here are my terms. My voice surprised me, a steady thing as if it had rehearsed. 1. Transparent adjustments documented by Lawson, with executed pages, not promises. 2. Any past accommodations to Rachel and Jake are papered as loans with written schedules or recorded as gifts for tax. 3. Going forward, no distributions without notice to all siblings. 4. If you can't agree to the first 3 within 30 days, I walk from the estate entirely. No more leverage. No more implied consent. I will not be used as the grateful daughter while subsidizing someone else's shine. Silence sat with us. Mom pressed her tongue to her teeth. Dad rubbed the bridge of his nose. He looked older. Walking away hurts you, he said. It protects me, I said, and it tells the truth about what I value. Lawson cleared his throat. These terms are ordinary, he said. Nothing here is punitive, they are corrective. Mom looked at the spreadsheet and then at me. People will talk, she said. They already are, I said, but now they're telling a different story. I thought of Mrs. Leary by the apples, of Mr. Dolan inventing an agenda item called communication, of the choir mom with a parking lot gospel. Gossip is a record, crude, but it points to the page. The leather couch pulled me back to homework and commercials. Now the breaks were real. Rachel texted Dad, his phone lit, then went dark. Dad finally nodded. 30 days, he said. We'll work with Lawson. I stood. Thank you, I said. My chest felt light. On the way out, the entry mirror caught me. I looked like a person with a job to do, not a grievance to carry. In the driveway, my phone buzzed. Mom, come by tomorrow. We changed some numbers. I parked, engine off, heart calm. The house looked unchanged, beige and trimmed, the kind of place that thinks it can outlast any story. Maybe it could. I wasn't here to burn it down. I was here to set the terms. Inside, the living room waited like an old photograph. Leather couch, framed school pictures, the rug Mom finds on sale every 5 years. For years, this room made me feel smaller than its furniture. Today, it felt to scale. Family comes first. Dad always said, time to define family. Mom stood with her hands around a mug she wasn't drinking. Dad had the new folder on the coffee table. Rachel and Jake were on the edge of the couch, mirroring each other without meaning to. Lawson was on speaker, the phone lay face up like a witness. Thank you for coming, Dad said, softer, we have updates. Let's hear them, I said. Lawson's voice filled the room. Per our meeting and follow-ups, we prepared an amendment and a memo of understanding. The trust allocations have been adjusted to equal shares. Past support to Rachel and Jake is documented as loans with written schedules, interest waived, and clear repayment triggers. Gifts are recorded for tax. Distributions going forward require written notice to all children with a quarterly accounting. He paused. I recommended additional non-financial provisions to minimize friction. Your parents agreed. Mom set the mug down. Invitations will be equitable, she said, looking at me, not the paper. No head of table rules, no we'll talk later in hallways. If something affects all of you, you're all in the room. Jake nodded. I'm good with that. Rachel's chin lifted, then lowered. I am too, she said. I want fewer surprises. Dad slid the documents across the table. There's also a recognition clause, he said, almost embarrassed. We didn't put your work in writing, we're correcting that. I read. It was simple and formal, acknowledgement of my scholarship, my community hours, my role with Grandma last year when hospice needed night shifts, the fact that return is not just money. I breathed. The sentences didn't flatter, they recorded. Thank you, I said. Lawson continued. Final items. The mortgage cosign is noted as a parental guarantee to be released when the scheduled principal threshold is reached. An addendum affirms that future guarantees require consent from all beneficiaries. Everyone signs today. I courier originals to the vault. Emily receives certified copies. Dad uncapped the pen and then stopped. He looked at me, not past me. This isn't an apology in numbers, he said. It's a correction, and I am sorry. The word landed like something heavy he'd carried in his pocket. I thought I was protecting the family. I see I was protecting a picture of the family. Mom's mouth tightened, then unclenched. I'm sorry, she said, and it sounded like it cost her something. For the recording, for the calculus, swallowed, for making you earn a seat that should have been yours. I let the silence be a bridge, not a weapon. Here are my terms beyond paper, I said. Invitations that are real. Decisions with time to respond, not traps. No triangulating through cousins or neighbors. If you need to say something hard, you say it to me, not about me. Agreed, Dad said. Agreed, Mom said, quieter. I signed where Lawson told me to sign. Dad signed, Mom signed. Rachel and Jake initialed the memo they had already read. Lawson gave a small judicial hum that meant the pages were complete. I'm accepting fairness, I said, sliding the pen away, but I'm not trading my worth for it. I define that part. If this all vanished tomorrow, I'd still be worth what I'm worth. Jake gave a crooked smile. You were the only one who said that out loud, he said. Thanks. Rachel tucked hair behind her ear. I was mean, she said, the words coming out like a new accent. I made it look easy because I was being handed a lot. I'll do better. You can start by stop posting subtext, I said. It came out lighter than it looked on paper. Text me instead. She laughed, small but real. Deal. Lawson cleared his throat. I'll file the amendment this afternoon, he said. Couriers are standing by. You'll each receive tracking and certified copies. If anyone tries a backroom edit, the paper will tell on them. Copy that, I said. We moved without choreography, closing folders, stacking pens, a gentle tide of normal. Dad reached for a photo of all of us at the state park and turned it toward me as if he could rewrite it by angle. Family comes first, he said again, then added, which means each person, not one picture. That I can work with, I said. At the door, Mom touched my sleeve. Dinner Sunday? She asked. Everyone brings a dish, no announcements, just dinner. Text the menu, I said. I'll bring something that doesn't need carving. Outside, the street was quiet. Lawns hummed, sprinklers counted to themselves. I didn't feel bigger than the house, I felt the right size. My phone buzzed as I reached the car, a text from Mr. Bennett, proud of you, ready for the next chapter. I looked back at the windows, framed moments, newly filed pages, and forward at the road. I typed yes. Then I put the phone down, started the car, and drove toward a life that didn't need anyone else's ledger to add up. I closed the folder on the coffee table, the ink from fresh signatures still drying, and for the first time that room felt like it belonged to me too. The leather couch was no longer a throne of judgment, just furniture in a house that couldn't shrink me anymore. Fairness in a family isn't automatic, it's something you stand up for and protect. Being loved doesn't mean being controlled, and justice, even when delayed, can restore dignity and peace. Outside, the quiet street hummed under steady porch lights, and the silence felt like freedom. If this story touched you, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Type 1 if you felt the same, type 2 if you think something could be improved.